Hello, my name is TCP White. I am on a mission to positively change the world. This is Letter to Mr. President 10. I shall be focusing on restructuring. Restructuring. If there was any word that recently gained global attention from Nigeria and Nigerians, and a frequently searched word on the internet, it is the word restructuring. In fact, in the last concluded general elections, it became a major campaign tool or promise, and it almost swung the votes in favor of the major opposition party. This is because, like an astute political party, the major opposition saw the yearning of the people for restructuring, owing largely to the perceived nepotistic approach to governance of your administration, Mr. President, and they built their campaign strategy around the word restructuring. It is no longer news that Nigeria, as presently constituted, is not a federation, but at best a unitary state, and destined to fail if urgent attempts are not made to rein it in from the direction it is headed and redirected to a path of growth and development. What we have seen since after the military government or military incursion brought Nigeria to its knees and made it a unitary government is every other president, even civilian presidents, have continued to manage this falsehood. We have continued to manage this state that is heading towards failure. And one of the legacies that any reasonable government or any reasonable president will bequeath to future Nigerians or future generations is to take Nigeria back to the thriving 60s before it was brought together by the military incursion to a unitary government. We cannot continue to manage failure. Mr. President, Nigeria is failing. Nigeria as presently constituted is failing. In fact, everything that is wrong with Nigeria today, be it insecurity, be it corruption, be it bad economy, name it, can be traced to the fact that Nigeria as presently constituted is not a federation. It's a unitary state, and its powers that is streaming from the center is not getting to the nook and cranny. A lot is wrong with Nigeria, and that can be traced to the fact that Nigeria is not currently running the way it should run. I am asking you, Mr. President, to reconsider the call, the yearning of Nigerians to restructure the polity, to restructure the economy, to restructure security, to restructure Nigeria as a whole, because that is the yearning need of the now. Elections are over. You have won the election. It is no longer a campaign tool, but it is still a need for Nigeria and Nigerians so that we can enter into the much needed peace, prosperity, and progress. Mr. President, I am not under the illusion that the executive, or any president for that matter, can restructure the country. Neither am I calling on you to do so, like we have seen some politicians promising, especially in this last election. However, my call is that you should recognize, not just recognize, but also allow that this restructuring take place. I am calling on you to recognize the need to restructure Nigeria from what it currently is to what it ought to be, and also to allow it to happen. I wrote in a previous article that the best time to initiate the restructuring process that will be devoid of political connotation is in the first year of any administration, not towards the end like we saw Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan did. It should be at the beginning of any administration. Then one way to go about this is to allow young Nigerians to drive the conversation by means of a national dialogue. It is important for us to reconsider the need for all ethnic groups to come together to discuss the future of Nigeria. And I'm saying that these ethnic groups should be represented by way of election. From every ethnic groups, the groups will elect who will represent them at the national confab, either one or two from each ethnic groups. And they should not be more than 50 years of age, those that will represent them at this national confab. The elderly can be on the sidelines, and these young ones will take advice from them or notes from them. But the discussion must be driven by the young people to whom the future of Nigeria belongs. No one should be older than 50 years of age to participate in that confab. Also, in that confab, there must not be a situation where there will be a no-go area. Everything ranging from the unity of Nigeria to everything whatsoever, sharing formula, the economy, the appointments, whether we need 2 or 1 National Assembly house, everything should be discussed. The kind of government, whether presidential, whether legislative or parliamentary, or whether it is even a monarchy, everything should be discussed. Nigerians must be allowed to decide their future. That is what democracy is. Nobody has the right to foist on other people what they have not elected to do or to follow. So it is my choice, it is my right to decide how I want to be governed, and that can be done through a national confab where a no-holds-barred conversation will be held, and after which we come out with a working policy or a working document that will guide the next 50 or 100 years of our national existence. In the future, there can be the need to review it, but we cannot continue to carry on as if it doesn't matter. It does matter. It is necessary for us to do this, otherwise we will continue to have pockets of groups like IPOB and PANDEF and all these people calling for restructuring or calling for anti-marginalization appointment and all sorts. The need to restructure Nigeria is real, and the time to do so is now, Mr. President. The other way to do this without spending extra funds or personnel is to partner with the institution that is already empowered to do so by the Constitution, and that is the National Assembly. Some attempts have been made in the past to review and amend the Constitution, but unfortunately, the real issues that Nigerians are calling for to be attended to have not been attended to, have not been amended. Issues like power generation, resource control, and all such have not been attended to. And the fact remains that the politicians, especially those at the center, who continue to benefit with this unitary system of government, do not want Nigeria to be free from where it is currently. Because they benefit from it, they couldn't care less of how the man on the street feels. Nigeria is working only for a few elites, the political elites, the religious elites, and also the business elites, the economic elites. But the majority of the Nigerians at the bottom of the pyramid, Nigeria is not working for them. And if government is for the people, by the people, it should be for Nigerians. The restructuring we are calling for should be such that we position Nigeria to benefit every single individual, whether foreigner or citizen, within the shores of Nigeria. Mr. President, we either elect to have a national dialogue within your first year in office, or you partner with the National Assembly to restructure the major things that have painted Nigeria as a unitary state. Such things include security. The police should be decentralized. Power generation and distribution should be devolved. Resource control should be devolved not just to states but to local governments. I see no reason why the resources in every state should be owned by the federal government. The state should be allowed to generate resources from their own, or generate revenue rather, from their own resources. In that way, we will not have people migrating to a few states or a few cities and overstretching the amenities in those states. Every state can then develop at their own pace. We need to also devolve, the kind of leadership. What kind of leadership do we desire? All of these things should be discussed, either through the confab or by the National Assembly. If the National Assembly will not initiate it, Mr. President, you can send an executive bill to the National Assembly that will capture the needs to devolve powers, restructure Nigeria, break down the economy in such way that every state, every local government can benefit, and the people within those areas can have a sense of belonging in the nation called Nigeria. My name is TCP White. I am on a mission to positively change the world.